What's going on, guys? I know we all have insecurities. I myself used to suffer from massive amount of insecurities. It was really my weight. And then at some point when I actually got to the size I thought I was, yeah, I stopped caring. You know, at one point in time, I thought I was this big, okay? I'm a hefty dude. I'm like 260 pounds now, okay? I always thought that I was ginormously fat, even when I was like 160, 170 pound teenager. I don't know why, body dysmorphia, whatever you want to call it. I had a bunch of issues, and once I actually got bigger, I just didn't care. And I know one thing that I wouldn't say I'd be insecure about, but I would hate, is going bald. It's a huge, it's not a fear necessarily as much as I've seen some bald people that just don't accept it. You know, they just let it kind of grow and look like garbage. Or they, you see people that are still trying to hold on to the teenage years where they have the bit of a mop top look, but they got this big giant bald spot. There's a bunch of people like that. And sometimes you just have to accept if you're going bald at 20, you're going bald. It's a done deal. Not everybody gets to have hair. I don't have a full beard. And some people get to have a full beard. But what I think is hilarious is when you see someone that's bald, and if you're in an argument, sometimes if you call them bald, it just pisses them off. My stepdad was the same way for years, which I think is hilarious. It's just, this guy reminds me of him, just hefty.
Bye, baby.
You know what you need? You need to be removed from the gene pool because you're too fucking stupid to be alive.
Yeah?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you have no hair, sweetie.
This has to be absolutely perfect. This is when the ego gets struck right here. This is perfect little representation here. And like, I want to, you know, go ahead and explain. I don't know if this is fake. It seems entirely too real. The interaction after this is beyond mind-blowing at how people can just get so enraged so quickly. And it sounds like a woman against a man. So I don't know what the beginning is. I don't know the context. But the fact that you just see on his face where he's just like, I'm out of comebacks. Okay, time to get violent. Time to get angry. Don't know why. That's his go-to thing. You're bald. Deal with it. You're bald. Who gives a shit? Just deal with the fact you're bald. It's just a thing that you can't do anything about. Not realistically. Like, you can probably go get a hair transplant. They're doing it. It's a huge thing right now. I don't know why. Maybe do that instead of losing your cool.
Oh, baby.
Touch me. Fucking touch me.
No.
Fucking touch me. Fucking touch me. Touch me. Fucking touch me. Touch me. Come on. Come on, hard ass. Get that phone out of my fucking face.
So let me get this straight. Your hairline is where you define everything. That's where you're going to get mad at. Okay? You had any choice. Anything that you can control in your life. And the one thing that you can control, which is what you're getting mad at, essentially, I'm saying what you can control, you know what I mean, is the fact that your hair, something you can't fix, something that is, you know, not, I would say not my problem. If I couldn't grow hair, it is what it is. I would just shave it bald and deal with the consequences later. What does it matter? I can't do anything about it. Nothing to get all up in a tizzy about. Like me being fat. I can control that, and being that I can't control it, I think the opposite way. Like, why am I going to get mad at somebody for, haha, you fat. Okay, and? Yep, I could do something about it. You know, and that's all it is. That's all it takes. But you being bald, like, maybe a good situation, just go get a hair transplant. It's pretty simple. I've seen a lot of people do it. It's very accepted. Now you'll look goofy for a little bit because hair transplant, you know, it's all prickly and whatnot. But it works. I mean, it is astounding how far we've come for, like, helping out bald people. But no, you decided that being violent and an asshole is your choice. That is the option, the route you wanted to take. No charisma points, just straight brute. You don't care. You just want to be an asshole. And the fact that that's what broke your ego for the few minutes that I see you on this video, I will say this. It's the same exact thing. My stepdad, this is 100% reminds me of my stepdad. My stepdad is a not so good person, okay? I never had to really live with him. He wasn't a problem to me. But he is just we'll call it a city clown. He is a nuisance. He's a moron. And it makes me laugh because this guy reminds me of him. If you called him bald, he would get not so pissy. He would just kind of act like he accepts it, but then get him drunk. Get him drunk, and he would be either laughing or he'd be crying. And his crying was always about being bald. And every single time had to do with high school. I don't know how traumatic it was. I don't know if they were dunking his heads in toilets with poo. I don't know the full details. But if I had to guess, because of his personality, it was probably because he wouldn't shut his mouth and he'd like to start shit. That's the only thing I could think of. Quick thing. He got drunk one night and he was crying. And yes, I'm saying this. I think it's funny. And he was literally just crying about how high school, he had the hair, he had the music, He had the facial hair and the car, and he was cool, man. But nobody liked him. He said, nobody liked me because I had all the cool stuff. He really sounded like an early, before it was like a coin phrase, like an incel. If you ever hear like incels, they always talk about like the money they may have, or they work out, or whatever they have. They got some kind of stature that they should be able to flaunt that should get them just raining pussy. But it just doesn't work, mainly because their personality shit. And that's how this guy acts. He was not cool, okay? He was a loser that was trying to act cool, or whatever you want to call it, back in like the 70s, okay? And I'm pretty sure, bullying was a little bit more brutal than it was when I was in school. And when I was in school, honestly, there wasn't a lot of bullies. There was some cliques, but nobody really cared. Everybody minded their own business for the most part. There was a little bit of inter clique fights, and sometimes a few people outside of that. But where I went to school, it was pretty calm and tamed. But I know that wherever he went had to been the most traumatic thing ever, because that's all he would talk about nonstop is how he would. I mean, this is a 45. I think he was 45 at the time. Nonstop crying, just tears rolling. It's the most traumatic thing you would have thought this guy experienced was that his car wasn't cool enough, and that he had hair, and then his hair was gone by the time he was, I think he said 19. So literally, it was receding, but he was able to keep it in whatever the 70s hairdo was. And then by the time he was 18, he was pretty much going bald. I only ever saw one picture with him with hair, and he always had the same mustache. And he always had that like big caterpillar one, because I guess that's what was cool. But yeah, by the time he got out of high school, pretty much nobody cared. It was all done. And I guess that was his problem, that he didn't get to peak in high school. I don't know. I don't think I peaked in high school. I wasn't like a huge jock. I wasn't that popular. I literally minded my own business. I wasn't like a nerd or a loser. I just didn't hang out with people. I minded my own business. I just went out of school, graduated, went on about my life. It was pretty simple. But it seems like he was stuck on that. Maybe that's what this guy is. Maybe that's going to be the 2 and 2 together, is that the guy is exactly the same. That he wished he was that guy through his entire life, and he just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe he's living an unfilled life that he's just getting mad at being called bald. But yeah, guys, it's time for me to get to work. I'm going to finish this video, and I'm going to drive on to work to go get sore, hurt. Hopefully get off early enough to do a stream today. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope y'all have a good one.